Did you know that there is a bankers bill that seeks to license all bankers in Kenya, enforce ethical standards, and impose hefty penalties, including up to 10 million for unlicensed practice? Welcome to our channel. My name is John Martin, a risk management consultant here at Paper. In this video, I will tell you three things. 1, the arguments for regulation. 2, the arguments against regulation. And 3, I believe that we should regulate banking professionals. Let's start with arguments for the regulation. The guys who are for this regulation, number 1, in this they are aiming to enforce ethics and curb fraud among bankers. Secondly, they are responding to past failures. Incidents such as the Imperial Bank, the failure of Imperial Bank in 2015, there is also Chase Bank and others, have actually prompted them to start thinking that there was a lot of misconduct and also issues about governance and fraud within those institutions, and this impacted greatly on the customers. Thirdly, they are looking at aligning other professionals. The advocates for these argue that like doctors and accountants and lawyers, they should be professionally certified and held to high standards. Now let's look at the guys who are against regulation. They are looking at sector complexity. They're saying that the banking workforce includes many disciplines like IT, like legal, like HR, and so therefore one size fits all professional licensing would actually be impractical. They're also looking at the aspect of cost, licensing cost, and this would cause bankers to stifle hiring and to raise compliance costs and limit opportunities as a result. Now, so they're recommending self-regulation as an alternative, like for example, Kenya bankers to regulate the banks as it were, and to have also internal self-regulation. Yeah, so be that as it may, for us to be able to continue, let's look at what the definition of a banker is. The general definition of a banker is basically a person or an institution who is running a banking business, who is carrying on a banking business. And this includes deposit taking, it includes lending and running other ancillary services. But more importantly, it is, let's look at what the Banking Act says, how the Banking Act defines a bank and defines a banking business, because like we are saying that a banker is a person who is actually running a banking business. So therefore, what does the Act say? And allow me to read this. According to the Banking Act 488 Section 2, the law defines a bank as a company which carries on or proposes to carry on banking business in Kenya, but does not include the Central Bank of Kenya. So what is a banking business? The accepting from members of the public of money on deposits repayable on demand or at the expiry of a fixed event or after notice. B, the accepting from members of the public of money on current accounts and payments on and acceptance of checks. And C, the employing of money held on deposit or on current account or any part of the money by lending or investing or in any other manner for the account and the risk of the person who is employing the money. So that is what the bank is, and that is what a banking business is. So what's the professional or functional definition of a banker? A banker is an individual employed by a financial institution involved in retail, SME or corporate bank, credit risk and lending operations, treasury and forex services, transaction monitoring including AML and aspects of compliance. And so therefore, a banker, we are saying, is a person who is a decision maker in the bank, management or strategy or governance. A banker is a decision maker. Yeah, so this is to say that the banker is a decision maker in bank management, strategy, or governance. Therefore, in summary, a banker is someone who is professionally involved in the professional in the professional activities, which include lending, which include the deposit taking, and which include the other ancillary services, the practice of other ancillary services. However, having said this, that it goes without saying that a bank needs support services like, for example, IT, like legal services, like HR, management of people, like finance and accounting. So it means, therefore, that there are two different functions within the bank itself. So there we have core banking functions and we have support banking functions. So let's start with the core banking functions. Performing core banking functions like lending, both domestic and international banking, treasury and forex requires a professional banking qualification and or relevant experience. Now, while a formal qualification isn't always mandatory, especially for certain junior roles, understanding banking principles, risk management, and compliance is actually crucial. In terms of the core banking function, the first one is lending. Lending happens to be the largest asset of banks and also the largest source of risk. So it is very, very important that a banker understands this. We have got marketing as well, which is essential function in driving business development and customer acquisition. Then we have bank treasury management, and this is a critical function in banks, which is responsible for managing the bank's liquidity, funding, and capital to be able to ensure that there is stability and growth. And you have operations. Now, these operations are either domestic operations or international operations. These are activities within the country's financial system. We also have got risk management, which is a core strategic function, and it's integral to bank operations because it influences everything from financial stability and regulatory compliance up to reputation management. And therefore, once we have got this core business, this is now the core area that a banker is supposed to be very conversant in. But however, now we have got now what we call the support services. Within the support services, we are looking at finance and accounting, who look at who are a bridge between the bank and its stakeholders in terms of reporting. Then we're looking at also human resource development because human resources they are important in terms of ensuring that we have the right talent. Then we have the information technology because of the technological frameworks that are required, and of course legal. And in this we are talking about the law relating to banking, so that we are compliant with the regulations, and we are also compliant in terms of debt and recovery of legal frameworks. So those are now the support services, which now are affecting the bank itself. Now, having said that, then it means that for a professional banker, he has got to understand both the core banking business and the support business. All support functions that we have mentioned below can actually be filled by individuals who are possessing skills and experience in their specific fields, and so therefore their certification comes from different areas where they have their professional bodies. So in this case, therefore, a banker must be able to understand both the core business and also understand the supporting business. So if we had to test a banker, for example, then it would mean that the curriculum would follow the route of both the core banking business and the support functions of banking. And so therefore it means that the banker must be aware about legal, because he must understand what is the law related to banking, and not that he's because he's a professional lawyer, but basically because they want to be cognizant when the legal issues arise, so that they can be able to seek support from their legal counterparts. And the banker has got to also understand the finance and accounting, so that even in addressing issues about looking at the financial statements of the institutions that they are lending to, then they have got to be cognizant of that fact. A banker has got to understand the people and the management, because they need the skills, they need specific skills to be able to run the business. And they must also understand the aspects of information technology because of the IT infrastructure and cybersecurity and the like. So therefore, in my opinion, then it means that it is very, very vital then to be able to license the banking professionals so that we can avoid those things that have been mentioned. The first one is the aspects of ethics. You notice that there are many banks that are laying down stuff as a result of fraud that is being committed. Then, of course, the aspects of the failure of this institution so that we can be able to protect depositors, and lastly, the aspect of aligning with the other professionals like legal, like finance and accounting, and like HR professionals. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comment section so that we can actually be able to speak with you. Yeah, we welcome you at Tripod, which is a risk consulting company that helps its clients to make smart and safe decisions to manage risks.